You are live. All right, let's get our music popping. Let's get our music popping. All right. What's going on, beautiful J4 family? Welcome to another edition of J4 Solo Dolo. Coming at you live on a fabulous Friday. I'm glad you're here. I see one person in the box. If you're willing to let us know who you are, please say that there in the comments. We'd love to know who we're chopping with. It's Friday. I don't know why you're hanging with me, but I'm glad you're here. I'm going to let this song jam a little bit just to help set the stage on a Friday night. If you're in here, that means you're likely at home instead of out socializing. So you're at home getting your grown and sexy on. I feel you. Today we're going to introduce a new concept called Future Fathers. I got a good dear friend of mine with me. We're going to chop it up and talk about planting seeds. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. If you're just now joining, please like, share it outward, share it with your people, some other dads or some other moms at home on a Friday. Tell them to pause that Netflix, pause that cinematic distraction, and come on over here to J4 Solo Dolo. I see you. We got 4 in the box. Let me know who you are, beautiful family. Welcome, welcome. Let me know who you are. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Today we're going to introduce a Future Fathers interview with a beautiful human being that I've gotten to know here pretty good recently. We want to add to the show, add the voice that's kind of missing, which has been folks who are not yet fathers. All right. What's good, beautiful J4 family? Welcome to another edition of J4, where conceptually 2 fathers and 2 sons chop it up about this beautiful thing called life. As you also talked about, we also have J4 Solo Dolo, where one of us or a combination of us might do some programming or content delivery and intermittently between our typical Sunday where the 2 fathers and 2 sons get together. Today we are going to introduce a new component to J4 conversation, and that is a missing voice. Right now, we've primarily been talking with moms, couples, married folks, single dads, single moms, having good conversations with them. We've been talking with beautiful young people, typically in their late teens, early 20s. The subject matter makes sense to them, but a voice that we have not brought in and that we're going to bring in today is young men, early 20s, late teens, mid 20s, who are not fathers, but certainly have an interest in ultimate fatherhood. And so we're going to bring in an individual here very shortly to represent that voice and just kind of have a chop it up conversation. Again, beautiful family, let me know who's in here so I can shout you out, so I can say hello. Let me know what city you're representing. Love to see who we're conversing with. Now, so I want to talk with these beautiful young folks about what's in their head as it relates to this topic of fatherhood, and really just want to encourage planned fatherhood. I want to encourage through J4 Conversations planned fatherhood rather than what can often occur where someone just discovers they're a father, right? Either through someone that they didn't anticipate having a child with, or even in a relationship, marriage or monogamous or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times even couples don't plan out childhood. They just one day discover that something's been missed, and let's go get that test. So today's about intentional planhood for fatherhood. And this is all really in the spirit of some data we've talked about in the past, where, they say 70% of beautiful young African-American children are born into single parents. I've always struggled with that number. That seems astronomically high to me. So I've done some research. The number is actually closer to 51% of Black children live with one parent. However, that's still problematic compared to 25% of all children. The 70% number actually doesn't account for folks who are either engaged or cohabitating. It's simply the marital status of the mother at the time of birth. If you take that literally, it can be upwards of 60 in the upper 60s. But for families that do have two parents, it's around the 51% mark. That's a problem in our community. I think intentional fatherhood planning with a partner that you've planned and want to do that with is something that we should certainly advocate for. So in that spirit, I want to bring in this beautiful human being called Arkeem Byrd. What's going on, Byrd? You doing good?
AJ, what's up, man?
Man, I'm loving life on a Friday, hanging with the beautiful J4 family. And you,
there you go, man.
Man, thank you so much for being our first future father interview and a chance to explore this new platform with us and to take some time out of a Friday. I know you're a young man, so you had to give up some social time to come hang with the old man. I appreciate you, brother.
Come on, man. You called me. I had to be here, man. Had to.
All right. So I got a little format to this, but just kind of flow with me and feel free to interject or ask any questions you might have. We shouldn't go too long, but also beautiful people in the boxes and in your privacy of your own homes if you want to get in on how you want to get in. So they can see your name, brother, but tell us your name and kind of what's going on with you. Anything you want to shout out or say by way of introduction?
Yep. So my name is Arkeem Byrd, and right now I'm the champ live GA at Arizona State on the AJ. Represent. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. You probably can hear it in my voice right now, man. Proudly from Georgia, man. I love my city. Yes, grew up with three big brothers. Had a passion playing football. Played football at Wake Forest. Ended up getting injured early on in my career. And kind of discovered I want to be a director of player development. Talked to this guy right here, AJ. He told me a couple of ways I can kind of get into the field. Saw this opportunity to come work with him, man. So I had to take my shot, man. Kind of learn from the best.
Akeem, I appreciate you, brother. And you've added tremendous value already to what we're trying to do over there at the university. All right. So what's your age?
23. I'm 23 years old. My birthday is April 16th. So I'll be turning 24 next year.
All right. Young man, 23. Man, if I could go back, Keem. Marital status?
Nah, I'm not married.
Single man, lady friend with him?
I'm a single man. I'm single man.
Yes, sir. Young and single, ready to mingle. Okay, this is not a dating site, but you know.
You asked me questions like we about to go on Tinder or something, man.
Do you have any children, brother?
Nah, no children. Not just yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about your family structure. With your parents together or siblings? What?
So I grew up. I first started off with my mom, my dad in the house. Then ended up getting separated. They wasn't married or anything like that. Just in a relationship. Ended up getting separated when I was younger. Then I kind of just grew up with my mom from there. I definitely know my father. My father was definitely there physically. Sometimes he wasn't always there mentally. So I kind of had to lean on to some of my little league football coaches and things like that. But I always knew my father growing up, but he ended up moving to South Carolina, Charleston, kind of get himself together, trying to figure out some things and stuff like that. I used to play little league football, so those little league coaches during that time when he kind of wasn't there, my little league coach was like my father or whatnot. So got three older brothers. My oldest brother, we had different dads, so he was raised by my grandmother.
Okay.
And so my other two big brothers, Bird, we call him Bird, then it's Justin, then it's me. We were raised by my mom. Then
all sons?
All sons, no boys. My mama had no boys. I mean no girls at all. Every time I get a girlfriend and everything, she always get close to my girlfriend because she never
Yeah,
had a father. So
yeah. She
she
want
wish
that.
she had that relationship. So every time I get a girlfriend, she get close with me.
Yeah, she want that daughter figure, no doubt.
Exactly.
You know, my parents were married. They got divorced when I want to say I was 15 or 16, and then perhaps in an unusual circumstance, or at least not as high percentages, I went to live exclusively with my dad.
Yeah.
And then, and then my mother and I, we had, this kind of, this grew apart and had some distancing. So I certainly can relate in the reverse in terms of the connection. But you mentioned that you had a connection with your pops. Y'all are y'all had physical time together. But as men, I imagine your pops in my age set, sometimes you navigate the emotional side of connecting with our sons. But in your life example, you had other male examples with your brothers, but also in the sports space, right?
Definitely.
That's critical. One thing I really want to emphasize and underscore, beautiful J4 family, that if your sons don't have connections to their fathers, young men listening in, that if you don't have connections to your pops, you still are going to need positive male role models, and sport is one way in which that occurs. But despite choices made by grown people, young people, you still need to have some positive male role models in your life, because that is critically tied into the kind of father that you are or ultimately will become. Akeem, are you an uncle? Do any of your brothers and kids?
Yes, I got 5 nephews and 1 niece.
Yeah.
So my oldest brother, he has 5. Yeah, he had 4 boys and 1 girl. And my other brother, he has 1 nephew. I mean, he has 1 boy. So I got 5. Yeah, 5 nephews and 1 niece.
Okay, your older brother's trying to catch up with me.
Come on, man. Come on. I became an uncle at the age of 13. Okay. That's when I get my first nephew, Travis. He the oldest.
Right. Have you had a chance to spend time with them? An uncle's different than a father, but it's a similar nurturing, protective kind of role, right?
Yeah. Definitely. So my oldest brother, I told you he's raised with my grandmother. So at one point in the stage, he kind of stayed with me and my mom. So he was in the house with us all the time with my youngest nephew when he was a little younger. They ended up moving out to New York. But like I told you before, my other brother, he had a son as well too. During that time, he kind of went away for a little while. So his son was is like an extended son to me. That's something I helped raise him with me, my dad, and my mom. We all tag team, kind of helping him out in each way that we can. Just help my nephew out while his dad was gone for a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes family rearing is a village aspect, right?
Yeah.
You have mom, dad, children, but then you have nuclear families, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the grandmas come in through 3 generational rearing, and then to a complementary level, you'll have sisters and brothers, aunts and uncles that kind of play that part. So, man, hats off to the family for rallying.
Yeah.
Do you want children, Arky?
Man, if I can have it my way, obviously I know I'm not carrying the kids, but if I can have it my way, I have 3 boys and 1 girl. And my last girl, I'm gonna name. So my nickname is Mel. That's what everybody call me. So I want to name my daughter Melanie. I always dreamed of this. 3 boys and my daughter named Melanie. She got to be the last one though.
But she got to be the last one. You got it all scripted out.
Exactly. She gonna be the last one.
Well, you and your significant other, your wife, y'all can certainly talk about the number of children. Yeah. I don't know if you can will the birth percentage, but I'm sure you'll get a young male in there, no doubt.
We'll figure it out, man.
At what age do you see, yourself? And I know this is all preceded by relationship. But we're just talking the father lane. At what age do you kind of wanna begin fatherhood?
Yeah. If I had like a set age, because all my best friends and everybody already got their kids and everything like that, so I'm really like the only one who doesn't have a kid right now. Yeah, everybody else got kids, but if I had to have an age, and I say 26, 27. So that's like 3-4 years from now. About 26, 27. I always want to be like a young dad. I want to be able to run around with my kids, play with them, play basketball if they want to, play football. I always imagine myself being a young dad. So if I had it my way, around like 26, 27, probably have my first kid and take it from there.
Yeah, I had my first child, my oldest daughter, at 21. I was young, that was on the young side, and then
How was that when you had your first kid at 21? Were you nervous? Were you scared? Or did you know? Did you plan that?
Well, I was married, and so my first wife, and so, but it's interesting to kind of my introductory conversation. I can't say that we literally sat down and planned for it. We certainly were practicing for it, but we didn't plan for it per se. And so it was more so by way of discovery, which is, a reality for many young folk. And a part of this conversation is to invite young men to think about fatherhood. I think that will affect the type of father they have, because you got to do some reflection in terms of how you were reared from a paternal, fatherly perspective, but also with your partner, right? And hopefully that's the intentionality. It is a partner and not an outcome of sort of a one-night stand or kind of a flippant, sexual encounter. That the couples who are coming together and they see longevity, whether it's cohabitation or marriage, are being intentful about when they want to produce a new life, right? I can't say I did that at 21. So, I had normal nervous father associations with that, but no, I was elated, man. To have a baby and to sort of take on that new phase of life, but also a part of why J4 conversations are so important to me. I didn't stay in that relationship, right? I'm married now and have 5 kids and been married 26 some years, so I know what it means to be a present father, but also know what it means to be sort of an absent father. And so a part of this is in no way evaluative. It's just sort of understanding both sides of that. And so no, with the childbirth, no, that was an exciting time, but it was a learn as you go kind of thing, Yeah. But I've always been in that kind of space, Keem, first generation kids. So college was a learn as you go. Things I was involved with were the first time for me. A marriage at that young, it was all kind of learn as you go kind of process. And so there was certainly not nervousness, but a wake up call as to what it means to provide and to care for a new infant life. You can never take your eyes off of them. You have to constantly be engaged. And then, of course, there's financial realities. And then, you got to navigate newfound relationship when it was just y'all two. But then here comes a new life. It completely rearranges the dynamic of a one-on-one relationship. So, yep. You said 26. The actual average age for men who become first-time fathers is around 31. For women, it's around 27. So, but there are a lot of young fathers. It's interesting. The age gap says something about typical age differentiation between mothers and fathers. But then also, you wanted to have a child, but interestingly, only about 62% of men over the age of 15 are fathers. So 4 out of 10 men, for whatever reasons, never become fathers. So in my world, most folks are fathers. It was just kind of an interesting fact. Does that seem like a low number to you?
Yeah, it does. It does.
What do you most look forward to about being a father?
And I think that ability to kind of mold them, right? Kind of help them understand who they are in this world. Because sometimes I can feel like you can kind of get lost. I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that. So just help them and shape them, not make them to where I want them exactly to be this way I want them to be, but allow them to be themselves. But if that's what you want to do, like, I'm supporting you. You want to be a soccer player, I'm come to the game. You want to be a football player, that's what I'm doing. You want to do chess, man, like, I'm doing that. I'm supporting you in that type of way. You know what I mean? I think that's the most thing I'm proud of. My son or my daughter come home telling me like, Dad, I did this at school, and I can reward them for it, or taking them walk. Like I told you with Melody, man, I always dreamed of having like daddy-daughter day. Daddy-daughter day, take it to the nail shop, get the nails done, take out on a movie, go on the dates and stuff like that. Like, right. I always dream of doing something like that, man.
Man, just the fact that you're thinking about it that way, right, is high indication of a very genuine core relationship to your children, man. You know, you talked about soccer, football, you know, ballet, all that kind of stuff. You're talking about exposure, right? One of the greatest responsibilities or opportunities we have as parents, fathers certainly, is to expose our children to as many things as possible, as many things that are in our sphere that we can access, and then as many things as we can afford, because a lot of engagement opportunities have price tags to it, unfortunately, in some ways. But yeah, brother, expose your kids from day one to a wealth of different things that they might find joy in, and then, you know, praise and applaud them. But also, that's also a pathway, as we've talked about in other sessions, to finding out what their ultimate life will be, you know, whether it's passion, career, whatever interest they might have, comes from this foundational exposure to many different things that you'll often create for them. Beautiful J4 family, welcome. Appreciate you guys. Feel free to share this. Definitely go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. We're in our growth phase. We're seeking to continue to expand our reach. If you see value in the content, please help us out with a like, share, and a subscribe. All right. So does anything scare you about fatherhood?
I think the biggest thing that scares me is not being financially ready. I scared me just for my childhood and how I grew up and knowing how tough it was, not having that financial piece of everything. And I want that for my kids as well too, you know. So I want to be able to be financially set to where, not to where I'm just giving them anything that they want, but if there's a resource, we're talking about giving them different opportunities. Like I'm allowed to take you to tennis practice or anything like that it may be, or get you a tutor, maybe it's something that you need, like having those type of resources. I want to be able to do that for my kids as well too. So I think that's probably like the biggest thing, but I think that's what I'm preparing myself right now. I'm trying to learn more about wealth management, how to budget my money, how to save my money, how to find those different type of side hustles and all those different things like that, man, because I think that's important for me. I want my family kind of grow up the same way that I kind of did, you know?
Yeah, sometimes your past experiences are your best motivators to new futures, right?
Right.
You know, that's one thing, you know, we do, Akeem, is we break generational cycles, right? Most of my family, or my father and mother, they didn't have official bachelor's degrees, and they broke that with me, right? Mm-hmm. There's certain milestones that my children have achieved that surpass me. Like my oldest daughter is getting a PhD, which surpasses the level of education that I have, right? Yeah. As parents, we want our kids to sort of have a life plus one, plus more, right? Mm-hmm. More than what we experienced. You know, you're doing the thing, brother. The fact that you have a bachelor's degree, only about 30% of people over 25 will have a bachelor's degree. And now you're about to complete a master's program, and only about 7% of human beings over age of 25 will have a master's degree. So you're putting yourself in very small company to have career access to certain types of jobs with higher earning potentials, man. So hats off to you, brother.
Yes, sir. How does that feel, man, being the first generation of your family, then seeing your kid get a PhD? Like, how does that make you feel?
Well, she's at the final committee review, so we can't jinx it. But to be at that point, man, it's a beautiful feeling, right? Mm-hmm. It's three generational. You know, there's a picture of Chantal's undergrad graduation, and she's in the middle, and I'm on the right. My dad is on the left, and I said something like, the reason the one in the middle is a college graduate is because the one on the left ensured that the one on the right was a college graduate. Yeah. So it was saying the reason why Chantal is a graduate is because her grandfather ensured that his son, me, was a graduate, right? Mm-hmm. And so he took on that responsibility because he realized education, he realized the challenges he couldn't get or the opportunities he couldn't get, not because of capability, but because of the absence of credential. Right? He didn't have the piece of paper. And so he did not want that for his son. And then it was familiar to me. So naturally, not only did I encourage my baby to get a degree, but, you know, helped her navigate as a family, you know, what's next, keep going. Plus she had the mental acumen, she's so brilliant. Her mental acumen was just, it was gonna keep going, right?
Yeah.
So it's a surreal feeling. It'll even be more surreal when I introduce her to my little world, Dr. Jones. But yeah, man. But not surprising, Keem.
Yeah.
Not surprising. She comes from good stock. Granddaddy set it in motion.
Yeah.
I'm in that space, so I understood how to navigate it, and she was the captain.
Well, man.
That, brother. All right. Now, you talked about costs. Do you know how much it costs to raise, on average, a child from birth to 18 years old?
Man, I can't give you an exact number, man, but I bet a whole lot. Let me guess real quick. You said from 0 to what's number? 18?
Yeah, 18, when it's so-called independent.
Man, I'm gonna say let's say $1 million. Let's say $1 million. That's
my God, no, there'd be no babies. There'd be no babies if it was $1 million. No, it might feel like $1 million, right? But no, they say on average it's about $200,000 to raise a child from birth to 18 years old, and then obviously, based upon parent income and whatnot. But from daycare to child care to costs associated with so-called free education, let alone if they're in private school, food. A lot of times you have to buy a bigger house or get a bigger apartment. So there's square footage calculations in there. But yeah, when I was looking at the data and see how it broke down, I could understand. I like to jokingly tell people, because I have 6 kids pretty close in age, I bought diapers for 11 years, Arkeem. 11 years I bought diapers. And I don't know what diapers are, but could you imagine what, $12, whatever the case may be? And the babies go through diapers like that, right? So if I were to just look at my diaper bill for 11 years, I don't know. But yeah, that's a big number.
Yeah.
That is a big number. All right. What does it mean to you, this phrase here, make a baby from preparation and not passion? What does that mean to you?
Make a baby from preparation and not passion. Dang, make a baby from preparation and not passion. I guess what it kind of mean to me is that's tough, man, because I guess in my head I'm always thinking that you make babies out of passion, out of love, and out of
Okay. Okay. So you've pointed out a flaw in my adjectives. Okay, let me say it this way. What do you think about this phrase? Make a baby with someone you love, rather than to be told you did by someone you don't.
Okay. Make a baby by someone you love, rather than, I think that's everything, man. To make a baby by someone you love. I think that's how it should be. Like, I shouldn't be forced to. I know in certain cultures like this, that is how you do it, but I feel like you shouldn't be forced to be in a relationship or do certain things with certain people. I guess I kind of say that, man, because my last ex-girlfriend, she was from Africa. Mm-hmm. She from Mali, and kind of learn about their culture of how sometimes you back in the day how you get like, from families, it's just based off family. Like you get choose to date this person based off the families and move forward. And I was learning some of that. I'm like, dang, like, that's crazy to me. Like,
yeah, arranged marriages. Although interestingly, they say that in arranged marriages, because it's a very strict cultural community, so it doesn't have the hypersexualization of the West, that although it might not start in sort of chemistry love, it can eventually grow into stable love and then maybe even passionate. So yeah, there's that dynamic. But this I think there's an element of in this 51% number of young Black children being born to single families, single mothers, 25% to single parents across all cultural communities. Mm-hmm. I would imagine a certain percentage of that are children that weren't planned, but yet sex occurred, likely absent of birth control, and that came from a space of passion, right? Or just pleasure seeking, and not necessarily out of planning, right?
Gotcha.
And so I'm exploring that kind of with young people because I'm wondering, logically, do young people in your age set synonymously see fatherhood and marriage as going hand in hand, right? Or is having children, not necessarily tied to long-term relationship? What are you reading out there among young people?
Man, I don't think from what I kind of know, my experience, I don't think it's more so of a planned thing, of like a planned marriage, and we're planning this together. From like I told you, from my friends and my community, it's like, dang, I messed up. Now I got to take care of business. I slipped up. It happened. Now I got to take care of business. Now I got to step up, and I got to be this person. I got to be a father, not necessarily a planned thing.
Right, and not necessarily a father that's in a relationship, but still has fatherhood responsibilities, right?
Right, definitely.
Yeah, I'm hoping conversations like these, and I hope to have many, many more, will just plant seeds in beautiful young men's minds and young women to really understand the dynamic and the time commitment, the financial resources, the love output for a child, and for something to be of such magnitude and impact upon your life, to be surprised by that and not have planned for that is problematic in so many ways, especially when the dynamic becomes a single parent situation and all the complexity and success and problems that kind of goes with that, right? I'd love to see that percentage go way down. And there's a number of reasons why maybe the percentage is there, but talking man to man, how can a man ensure that they're not surprised by that? There's a lot of birth control options that women have. Men have two. Men have two birth control options. That's either abstinence or condoms, right? And so let's kind of shift that a little bit. What's going on in your age set around condoms? I'm hearing some folks say they don't like the way it feels, and there's a hesitancy around it. And I don't want to get in your business personally, but what's out there in the world around condoms?
Man, it's a term. It's called raw dog.
Raw dog. Raw dog.
A raw dog. You bear, like no condom, like a raw dog. Raw dog is like, I want with no condom at all. It's just like bear. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I understand. I need to write it down. I got to say. So young brothers, and this is not with a relationship, right? Or are they assuming the partner is taking birth control, or is it just they don't know and they're going for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think what the thing with condoms that people don't like using them. I think it's because of the feel. It's not that same feel. Once you raw dog somebody before, then you use a condom, it's just like a different type of feeling. I think that's why people might don't use condoms, or maybe their girlfriend or significant others on birth control, and they feel more comfortable to be able to do it like that.
Yeah,
anything kind of may be,
I wonder if they feel comfortable spending $200,000 over 18 years, right? So this is talking to the young men out there, not you specifically, but men can be celibate, men could be virgins, men could be freaks. I'm not getting into that, but we got to protect our own reproduction, right? So if you with someone that you're building a relationship with and she has her birth control strategy, you still have your birth control strategy, that's double safety, both in terms of pregnancy prevention, sexually transmitted disease. Mm-hmm. But men out there, you all have to have condoms, y'all. You got to have them in your pocket. You got to have them in your wallet, if they still do that. You got to have them in your backpack. You got to have them in your drawer, in your car, wherever you might find yourself alone, potentially with someone of an interest to you, and y'all might do your thing. You got to be able to pull the condom key. You got to be able to handle that. Men, we have to control your own reproduction. There's far too many pregnancy surprises. And then all of a sudden you find yourself going from a fun night into a full responsibility for a life. And a lot of that is adding problematically to some of the data sets. So please, young folks, control your own reproduction.
That's real, man.
Anything you want to add on that?
No, I think with everything you said, man, that's real, man. You got to kind of think about the future. I know maybe in that moment, you're not thinking about stuff like that. You ready just to get it off, you know what I mean? And have that feeling, man. But like you just said, you got to think about the future sometimes. It's not worth it. If you're not prepared and you're not ready at that time.
Yeah. I'm not going to go to it in too deep here, but, you know, generationally, between you and me even, access to sex is vastly different in your generation than was in mine. Yours is much more quicker, where the first question itself can be, would you like to have sex? And in that kind of space, and then you add in young nuance, you add in a little liquid courage, you know, and you add in, you know, folks, you know, in their own access to each other, minus parental presence. I understand. But man, you gotta protect your reproduction and not just put that as the responsibility of your partner, or let alone someone you just met and y'all aren't even having these conversations. You going from dancing in the club to smashing in the sheets all within an hour and a half time, man. Brothers out there, please protect your reproduction. All right, couple of closing thoughts, and then I'll give you the last word, Akeem. Young men, you have to identify and establish a connection with positive male figures. If that's your father, beautiful. If not, who else is in your life that can give you examples of good, healthy fatherhood? You're going to need that. As in the case of Akeem, if you have young nieces and nephews, spend some time, you know, caring for someone that's younger than you, even though that's something you'll do for a small period of time. It gives you a sense of what it means to be the adult person responsible for the supervision. You know, you're going to feed them a little something, you're going to entertain them, but that gives you some glimpses into what ultimately full-time parenting or fatherhood might be. And then also take some time to reflect early, before you even become sexually active or really begin to possibly think about fatherhood, is think about your own parents, particularly your own father or a male figure, and think through what you want to keep, what you want to replicate from your parent in terms of your parenting. But also think about what you want to discard, Akeem. Think about what you don't want to bring. That's called breaking cycles or breaking patterns of parenting that you didn't quite like, right? Our parents are our best example of what it means to be a mom or a dad. They are our primary example, but everything they did for us isn't necessarily something we would want to replicate. So take things in terms of rearing, nurturance, discipline, guidance, advice, whatever the case may be, take that. But things that you didn't quite like or didn't quite set right with you, don't take that. And then the last thing I'll say, and Akeem, I'll give you the last words, and then we'll close it out with the beautiful family, is be the father you wish your father was, Akeem. Even if your father was absent, you have some vision of that absence, of what you missed out on. Be the father you wish your father was. Even in the example where a father is present, as in my situation, I'm sure my kids look at me and they have critique. They have some things like, I don't like what my dad did, or I don't like what he was doing, right? Be the father you wish your father was. There are many young men out there who are navigating maleness and masculinity and future fatherhood under the lens of a compromised relationship to their father. I understand that, right? But at some point, you're going to produce a child, at least 60% of us will. And all we can do is then move forward in the role of father. And one strategy is to think about, contemplate, seek input on how to be the father you wish your father was. Akeem, last word is yours, brother.
No, man, I just love that advice, what you just gave just now. I'm just thinking in my head about my father. Like, what's something I want to bring that he gave to me, I want to give to my kids. I think that's that love aspect. I think my father, that's one thing I knew my father, I knew he always loved me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went through a couple of things. He had to figure some things out for himself. But one thing I always knew, man, he always loved me, man, and that's something I want to be able to cherish to my kids as well too. That love aspect, that genuine love, man. So I'm glad you kind of mentioned that. I'm just thinking in my head.
Mm-hmm. Akeem, my read of you, man, the way I pick up on your spirit, you're gonna be a beautiful father, brother.
Yes, sir. That's love.
We need more folks, more young men out there like you. Thinking through intentional, speaking from the heart, wanting to embrace fatherhood in a timely and constructive kind of way, man. So mad love to you, man. Your family raised a genuine son. I don't know how often you communicate with your dad, but reach out to him, reach out to him. And sometimes when it feels right, express what you appreciate about him, and maybe if there's something you need to process and talk out loud, that genuine connection you guys will have will allow for that. And I think all of us need an opportunity to have candid conversation with our father when and how it makes sense. And we definitely need that when we're about to enter into the dawn of our own fatherhood. So, brother, if you've done that already, hats off to you. If you haven't quite done it at the depth and level you need to or want to, hey, man, I'd recommend it.
That's love.
Hey, we got a great Mimi. That's CJ Watt. I see you, Mimi. She says, great conversation with Akeem. He has the potential to be a great father. No doubt.
Appreciate you, Mimi. That really means a lot. Seriously.
Beautiful J4 family, thank you for joining us in this new format, Future Father Interview. I couldn't think of a better first guest than Akeem Byrd, a man coming of age. You're going to certainly know his name in the future. Again, thank you for joining us. Again, please like the YouTube channel. That helps us in terms of the algorithm. When you see us come through, please share it. Share it in however you share it. I don't know. How do you share YouTube? But Facebook or whatever the case may be. Make a comment. That also helps. And then, of course, subscribe. And then lastly, and equally important, somebody out there, J4 family, that could benefit from this content. Give us a shout out. Tell them to check it out. Tell them to come join the family. Tell them to get in here and co-sign on some of this or disagree or offer their perspective. But let us get this information out to more beautiful families, because in our community, the marriage rate is going down, birth rate remains the same, and too many of our babies are living in single-parent homes. Let's change that. And a part of that, everyone has a role to play, including how young men approach this beautiful thing called fatherhood. On that note, Akeem, I appreciate you. On behalf of J4 Conversations, we'll see you down the road. More to come, more to come. Love, love, love.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.